The Deltfall sec units hadn't been rogues. They had been inserted with combat override modules. The modules allow personal control over a sec unit, turn it from a mostly autonomous construct into a gun puppet. The feed would be cut off, control would be over the comm, but functionality would depend on how complex the orders were. Kill the humans isn't a complex order. Mensa stood over me. Rati leaned across a seat to look out toward the Deltfall camp. Oversay popped open one of the storage lockers. They were talking, but I couldn't catch it. I sat up and said, Mensa, you need to shut me down, now. What? She looked down at me. We're getting emergency repair. Sound was breaking up. It was the download flooding my system, and my organic parts weren't used to processing that much information. The unknown sec unit inserted a data carrier, a combat override module. It's downloading instructions into me and will override my system. This is why the two Deltfall units turned rogue. You have to stop me. I don't know why I was dancing around the word. Maybe because I thought she didn't want to hear it. She just shot a heavily armed sec unit with a mining drill to get me back. Presumably she wanted to keep me. You have to kill me. It took forever for them to realize what I'd said, put it together with what they must have seen on my field camera feed, but my ability to measure time was glitching too. No, Rati said, looking down at me horrified. No, we can't. Mensa said, we won't. Pinley. Oversay dropped the repair kit and climbed over 2 rows of seats, yelling for Pinley. I knew she was going to the cockpit to take the controls, so Pinley could work on me. I knew she wouldn't have time to fix me. I knew I could kill everyone on the hopper, even with a blown hip joint and one working arm. So I grabbed the hand weapon lying on the seat, turned it toward my chest, and pulled the trigger. Performance reliability at 10% and dropping. Shutdown initiated. Chapter 5. I came back online to find I was inert, slowly cycling into a wake-up phase. I was agitated. My levels were all off and I had no idea why. I played back my personal log. Oh, right. I shouldn't be waking up. I hoped they hadn't been stupid about it, too soft-hearted to kill me. You notice I didn't point the weapon at my head. I didn't want to kill myself, but it was going to have to be done. I could have incapacitated myself some other way, but let's face it, I didn't want to sit around and listen to the part where they convinced each other that there was no other choice. A diagnostic initiated and informed me the combat override module had been removed. For a second, I didn't believe it. I opened my security feed and found a camera for medical. I was lying on the procedure table, my armor gone, just wearing what was left of my suit skin. The humans gathered around. That was a bit of a nightmare image. But my shoulder, hand, and hip had been repaired, so I'd been in my cubicle at some point. I ran the recording back a little and watched Pinley and Oversay use the surgical suite to deftly remove the combat module from the back of my head. It was such a relief. I played the recording twice, then ran a diagnostic. My logs were clear. Nothing there except what I'd had before entering the Deltfall habitat. My clients are the best clients. Then hearing came online. I've had hub system immobilize it, Garathan said. Huh, well, that explained a lot. I still had control of sec system, and I told it to freeze hub system's access to its feed and implement my emergency routine. This was a function I'd built in that would substitute an hour or so of ambient habitat noise in place of the visual and audio recordings hub system made. To anyone listening to us through hub system, trying to play back the recording, it would just sound like everybody had abruptly stopped talking. What Garathan had said had evidently been a surprise, because voices protested, Rati, Voliscu, and Arata mostly, Pinley was saying impatiently, "There's no danger. When it shot itself, it froze the download. I was able to remove the few fragments of rogue code that had been copied over." Oversay began, "Do you want to do your own diagnostic? Because I could hear them in the room and on the security feed, so I switched to just visual on the camera." Mensa had held up a hand for quiet. She said, "Garathan, what's wrong?" Garathan said, "With it offline, I was able to use Hub System to get some access to its internal system log. I wanted to explore some anomalies I noticed through the feed." He gestured. "This unit was already a rogue. It has a hacked governor module. On the entertainment feed, this is what they call an oh shit moment. Through the security cams, I watched them be confused, not alarmed, not yet." Pinley, who had apparently just been digging around in my local system, folded her arms. Her expression was sharp and skeptical. "I find that difficult to believe." She didn't add, "you asshole," but it was in her voice. She didn't like anybody questioning her expertise. "It doesn't have to follow our commands. There is no control over its behavior," Garathan said, getting impatient. He didn't like anybody questioning his expertise either, but he didn't show it like Pinley did. I showed Valescu my evaluations, and he agrees with me. I had a moment to feel betrayed, which was stupid. Valescu was my client, and I'd saved his life because that was my job, not because I liked him. But then Valescu said, "I don't agree with you." "The governor module is working then?" Mensa asked, frowning at all of them. "No, it's definitely hacked," Valescu explained. "When he wasn't being attacked by a giant fauna, he was a pretty calm guy." "The governor's connection to the rest of the second system is partially severed. It can transmit commands, but can't enforce them or control behavior or apply punishment. But I think the fact that the unit has been acting to preserve our lives, to take care of us, while it was a free agent, gives us even more reason to trust it." "Okay, so I don't like him." Garathan insisted, "We've been sabotaged since we got here. The missing hazard report, the missing map sections. The SEC unit must be part of that. It's acting for the company. They don't want this planet surveyed for whatever reason. This is what must have happened to Deltfall." Rati had been waiting for a moment to lunge in and interrupt. "Something odd is definitely going on. There were only 3 SEC units for Deltfall in their specs, but there were 5 units in their habitat. Someone is sabotaging us, but I don't think our SEC unit is part of it." With finality, Bharadwaj said, "Valescu and Rati are right. If the company did order the SEC unit to kill us, we would all be dead." Oversay sounded mad. "It told us about the combat module. It told us to kill it. Why the hell would it do that if it wanted to hurt us?" I liked her too. And even though being part of this conversation was the last thing I wanted to do, it was time to speak for myself. I kept my eyes closed, watching them through the security camera, because that was easier. I made myself say, "The company isn't trying to kill you." That startled them. Garathan started to speak, and Pinley shushed him. Mensa stepped forward, watching me with a worried expression. She was standing near me, with Garathan and the others gathered in a circle around her. Bharadwaj was farthest back, sitting in a chair. Mensa said, "SEC unit, how do you know that?" Even through the camera, this was hard. I tried to pretend I was back in my cubicle. "Because if the company wanted to sabotage you, they would have poisoned your supplies using recycling systems. The company is more likely to kill you by accident." There was a moment while they all thought about how easy it would have been for the company to sabotage its own environmental settings. Rati began, "But surely that would..." Garathan's expression was stiffer than usual. "This unit has killed people before. People it was charged with protecting. It killed 57 members of a mining operation. What I told you before about how I hacked my governor module to
Ja.
mass murderer, That was only sort of true. I was already a mass murderer. I didn't want to explain. I had to explain. I said, I did not hack my governor module to kill my clients. My governor module malfunctioned because the stupid company only buys the cheapest possible components. It malfunctioned and I lost control of my systems and I killed them. The company retrieved me and installed a new governor module. I hacked it so it wouldn't happen again. I think that's what happened. The only thing I know for certain is that it didn't happen after I hacked the module. And it makes a better story that way. I watch enough serials to know how a story like that should go. Valescu was sad. He shrugged. My viewing of the unit's personal log, Garothan confirms that. Garothan turned to him impatient. The log confirms it because that's what the unit believes happened. Maradwaj sighed. Yet, here I sit, alive. The silence was worse this time. On the feed, I saw Pin Lee move uncertainly, glance at Oversay and Rada. Rati rubbed his face. Then Mensa said quietly, Set Unit, do you have a name? I wasn't sure what she wanted. No. It calls itself Murder Bot, Garothan said. I opened my eyes and looked at him. I couldn't stop myself. From their expressions, I knew everything I felt was showing on my face, and I hate that. I grated out. That was private. The silence was longer this time. Then Valescu said, Garothan, you wanted to know how we spent its time. That was what you were originally looking for in the books. Tell them. Mensa lifted her brows. Well, Garothan hesitated. It's downloaded 700 hours of entertainment programming since we landed, mostly serials. Mostly something called Sanctuary Moon. He shook his head, dismissing it. It's probably using it to encode data for the company. It can't be watching it, not in that volume. We'd notice. I snorted. He underestimated me. Rati said, the one where the colony's solicitor killed the terraforming supervisor who was the secondary donor for her implanted baby? Again, I couldn't help it. I said, she didn't kill him. That's a fucking lie. Rati turned to Mensa. It's watching it. Her expression fascinated. Pin Lee asked, but how did you hack your own governor module? All the company equipment is the same. I got a download once that included all the specs for company systems. Stuck in a cubicle with nothing to do, I used it to work out the codes for the governor module. Garothan looked stubborn, but didn't say anything. I figured that was all he had. Now it was my turn. I said, you're wrong. Hub system let you read my log. It let you find out about the hacked governor module. This is part of the sabotage. It wants you to stop trusting me because I'm trying to keep you alive. Garothan said, we don't have to trust you. We just have to keep you immobilized. Right, funny thing about that. That won't work. And why is that? I rolled off the table, grabbed Garothan by the throat, and pinned him to a wall. It was fast, too fast for them to react. I gave them a second to realize what had happened, to gasp, and for Valescu to make a little eek noise. I said, because Hub System lied to you and told you I was immobilized. Garothan was red, but not as red as he would have been if I'd started applying pressure. Before anyone else could move, Mensa said, calm and even, Sec Unit, I'd appreciate it if you put Garothan down, please. She's a really good commander. I'm going to hack her file and put that in. If she'd gotten angry, shouted, let the others panic, I don't know what would have happened. I told Garothan, I don't like you, but I like the rest of them, and for some reason I don't understand. They like you. Then I put him down. I stepped away. Oversay started toward him and Valescu grabbed his shoulder. Garothan waved them off. I hadn't even left a mark on his neck. I was still watching him through the camera because it was easier than looking directly at him. My suit skin was torn, revealing some of the joints of my organic and inorganic parts. I hate that. Everyone was still frozen, shocked, uncertain. Then Mensa took a sharp breath. She said, "Sec unit, can you keep hub system from accessing the security recordings from this room?" I looked at the wall next to her head. I cut it off when Garathan said he found out my governor module was hacked and then deleted that section. I have the visual and audio recording transfer from sec system to hub system on a 5-second delay.